everyone. This is David Ellis back with Amir Jahangiri. And today we're going to be taking a review of miracles and mayhem in religious and mythological texts. And this is going to be another one of those common sense approaches to spirituality, religion, metaphysics that is very much needed, because I sometimes wonder why people don't think in simple terms. And so before we get into this, Amir, talk to these people.
Ladies and gentlemen, my warmest greetings to you. Thank you so much for being here with us. We really appreciate your valuable presence. So, well, let's have a look at miracles, how they're reported to have gone down, and how most probably they actually did go down. And, you know, this is going to be interesting. Stuff that could probably happen, miracles that happen every day in our lives. And the positive aspects of them, what we can really gain out of these things. So a light-hearted approach to some incredible stuff.
We're going to try to be adult during this entire broadcast, and I suspect that I'm going to fail miserably. I don't know about Amir, I can't speak for him, but I'm going to fail miserably. I'm going to try to be adult and approach it from a very common sense standpoint. Okay? What I'm going to do is I'm going to put you guys and myself and Amir in the position that these miracles, the context, and then you guys tell me what would happen. Does that work? You guys with us? Excellent. So Amir and I are not putting ourselves out there as spiritual leaders, but just say, for example, I am a teacher of something. You are having a pool party at your house. I come across to your house. I say, well, this is a perfect venue to do some teaching. But before we do, I want to reinforce your belief in spirituality and magic. And then all of a sudden, I start to populate the picnic table or whatever table you have set up with foods and drinks with jugs and jugs of Kool-Aid. Lots of Kool-Aid. They start appearing on the table. And then I say to you, drink. Have your fill of Kool-Aid. Would you drink the Kool-Aid?
Well, it depends on,
would you drink the Kool-Aid?
well, it kind of depends, you see. What kind of party is this?
This is a pool party.
Is there alcohol involved or no? And what goes into the Kool-Aid? So is it advertised to get you hammered?
We're not dealing with all of that. The Kool-Aid is there. It has magically appeared on the table. You drinking the Kool-Aid or you're not drinking the Kool-Aid?
Well, let's just say I'm going to let somebody else or another 10, 15 people drink, then wait for a few hours, see what goes down to those poor bastards. And then I'm going to try.
All right. So there are two categories of people. The people that would just drink the Kool-Aid. I am not drinking the Kool-Aid. No. The first question, for those of you who are saying, of course I'll drink the Kool-Aid. What's the problem, right? What is wrong with you? I am not drinking the Kool-Aid. The first question I'm going to have for you, if you are the Kool-Aid maker, is which chakra did you use to produce that Kool-Aid? Okay. That's
okay. So the Kool-Aid might have special ingredients.
You know, special groove Kool-Aid. No, I'm not drinking the Kool-Aid. I'm not drinking the Kool-Aid. I'm sorry. So we have a miracle that is performed on the Mount, Temple Mount, I believe it was, where Jesus populates the baskets with bread and fish. Okay, I'm asking you guys, would you eat the bread and fish? Bread and fish just magically appear.
Well, again, you see, David, it depends what kind of party it is, how hungry I am, and if I actually need the money or not. You see what I mean?
Listen, first of all,
there's always going to be somebody that drinks the Kool-Aid, eats the bread and fish, and then washes it down with some more Kool-Aid.
Is it?
So yeah, it really depends.
I gotta ask, because we read about these stories, we don't question, but I am assuming that people back then were basic human beings like we are, like the same constituents, the same fears and so on that we have. So I just populated your picnic table with a bunch of Kool-Aid, jugs and jugs of Kool-Aid. Are you drinking the Kool-Aid? Listen to me, there's only one way that I'm going to actually drink that Kool-Aid, is if we as a community put it together. But if a spiritual leader popped up and said, well, I'm populating this table with Kool-Aid, I'd be like, no, I'm going to wonder what chakra that Kool-Aid came from, for real. Because that's you know what I'm talking about, right?
Anything lower than the heart chakra is a probable no-no. Okay.
Right. If the Kool-Aid is red, don't drink the Kool-Aid. If the Kool-Aid is red or orange, don't drink the Kool-Aid, okay? Don't drink the Kool-Aid. So that's the first thing I want to go into in terms of the miracles that are performed.
David, don't ask for the source of the Kool-Aid either.
It's flowing. It's flowing from universal love. No. Hell to the no. I'm not drinking the Kool-Aid. I'm just asking, would you guys drink the Kool-Aid in that situation? Problem number 2. We're not putting ourselves out there, so we're having a jam session. I say we're having a little bit of a hangout. I send out emails to you guys, the regular listeners and so on, and I say to you guys, meet me in the cemetery. Notice, don't extend it past what I'm saying. Meet me in the cemetery. You guys pack up your stuff, you pack some Kool-Aid, and you meet me in the cemetery. First question that is being asked is, David, I hope this is not another Kool-Aid party, because I'm having trouble digesting the last set of Kool-Aid that I drank at the pool party. So, right? And I say, no, it's nothing like that. Just hang on. I'm just doing some stuff here. What is he doing? And then I say, and I look at the grave and I say, rise, Elvis, rise and come forth. And Elvis crawls out of the ground, no worse for wear, in a little sparkly suit, and he comes forward. What would you do? Would you just stick around and say, oh, is this David manifesting a dead body out of the ground? I mean, it's not like it's a problem or anything. Or would you shit your pants and run? Make a decision. Amir, please, help me out here.
That would depend on the concentration of the Kool-Aid in the system. If you're already high on the Kool-Aid, you'd probably hang around to see what Elvis does next, you see? Because you've already been drinking the Kool-Aid. So that's kind of the thing, if you drink that first drop of Kool-Aid, you're in for the rest of the ride.
Okay, I'm very simple. I'm going to tell you guys right now. I keep things very basic. Sorry, but not sorry, really. I keep things very basic. And so I'm thinking, if I'm hanging out in the cemetery and a body starts crawling out of the ground and comes forward, pretty pristine, in pristine condition, there might be some questions to be had. And I'm guessing that not everybody is going to be of strong constitution. And some people might run away like little bitches. I am 100% sure of that. So I'm wondering, why don't we hear about these people? Or was everybody like, yeah, there's a dead body, it's coming out. I mean, it's not a big deal. What's wrong with that? I got a problem. So in the concepts of resurrection, Lazarus comes forth, but we never hear the other part where everybody goes scampering in different directions. Nobody went scampering, which seems a little bit unrealistic to me. Amir, does that seem unrealistic?
Well, I suppose compared to, Elvis appearing, people shitting themselves and peeing their pants and running while this is happening. That was a, insignificant detail that was missed from the story.
Mm.
Elvis is the focal point, you see.
It's the moral of the story that counts. Mm.
Exactly. I mean, people shit themselves every day. Why make the story heavy? Why go on tangents that are unnecessary?
I see. Why go on tangents that are unnecessary? Let's go to the third miracle, more of a ritual than a miracle. Let's just say that I invite you, we're having a satsang, we're having a talk and so on. I invite you guys on the show, right? I got some red Kool-Aid there for you. We're going with the red Kool-Aid. And to top it off, I have some like Tostito little cracker things. And then I come up to you and I tell you, open your mouth, drink this. This is my blood. Oh, and this is my body. Put it into your mouth. Eat it. You and I are now one. Would you drink the Kool-Aid?
Well, you see, David, back in the day, they were fans of vampire stories also. It was just their little reenactment of the vampire party, Here, have some blood, it's pretty cool.
I am trying to think of a scenario where somebody rolls up to me and says, eat this, this is my body, and drink this, this is my blood, where symbolically or otherwise, I'm going to be cool with that. I'm trying to think of a scenario where this actually happens, and I'm thinking,
not in your right mind.
It's that.
That goddamn Kool-Aid, man, that must have been some potent Kool-Aid.
Yeah, like
absolutely
the Kool-Aid, right?
They're down with whatever, man.
Listen, guys, I fell asleep last night. I'm dreaming about these things and I'm wondering, but why? Why am I dreaming about these things? Woke up laughing, actually, because I'm seeing the scene of people scampering away. Right, and I can't help it. It's funny. It's funny. Let's not forget the whole exorcism story. Man comes up to you and casually introduces himself and says, I am called Legion, for I am one and I am many. Okay? And the only thing that you could find to do with yourself is say, yo, deal with this from somebody else, right? You don't run away. You don't pack up and leave. I don't get it. Anyway, so this guy rolls up and says, I will free you from your demons. He takes the demons and he puts them into pigs and has them run off of a cliff to their death. Okay? I'm not eating pork again. No, I wouldn't eat pork anyway because I'm vegan. But that's beside the point. I ain't eating pork again. Not in that region. Not in that geographical region. Not in that continent. I'm not eating pork again.
Especially once you the inhabitants do to the poor pigs. You see, there have been stories about sheep, but the pig thing, well, that's the next level.
Which is why certain religions don't eat pig up to this day, I suspect. I suspect there's some, I never really understood why. Yeah, they think that the pig defiles them, but it might be something simpler. They probably saw some stuff that they didn't really like. Yeah, that would cure me from the whole meat eating issue. These are the things that we need to actually ask ourselves, but it doesn't get asked. But I mean, we can continue, we could do this all day long. All right, it's Old Testament times. Somebody rolls up to you and says, hi, I heard that all of you are gay in here. Stop it. But the threat is coming from Abrahamic God. Yeah, and he's not to be messed with because he killing everything. Okay, he's killing the whole continent. And if you piss him off, the whole world is going. This man, this entity says, you know, the next time I have to come back here, everything is going to burn. Everything. Everything. Abrahamic God rolls up to your town. His messenger rolls up to your town and says, yeah, y'all are gay, homosexual, y'all into that stuff here.
You're too fabulous. Stop being so fabulous.
Yeah. But you decide that you're going to be gay and happy at the same time. So you're going to continue your practices. This would not go down in 2022. We would all die. You know that, right? Everybody would be killed. Right? Anyway, as I was saying, so you're going to be continue being gay because that's your natural inclination. No judgment. Oh, I'm sorry. There is judgment. Here's a meteorite for your efforts. Like, can I ask a question? If you are a member of the LGBTQIA community and you're still calling yourself Christian, how do you resolve this?
Well, that's a big problem, because we know that humanity is not a 0 and 1 in any way, in any case. We're on a spectrum, and that everybody is born beautiful, and divinity exists in all of us. So yes, somebody who comes down and says you're either 0 or 1, or I'm sending a meteorite to rectify the problem. Well, if you're actually the one that created all this, dude, you're the problem.
You know, there's such a thing called faith, okay? And it's a little bit of a leap. When you say a leap of faith, it shouldn't be like leaping over the Grand Canyon. Theoretically, it shouldn't. It should be like, okay, I'm going to leap from one boulder to the next. A leap of faith is watching a man build a boat on land, a huge, huge boat, taking the time to look for 2 of every animal on earth. Every species, every animal on earth, herding them into the boat that he's building on land, and you are part of that labor crew building this extensively big, huge boat, looking up at the sky and seeing no clouds in the sky and still building that boat. That's a leap of faith. Question though, if there are 2 of every animal, male and female, and they reproduce, then Amir, genetics being what we know it to be, that doesn't seem particularly correct, does it?
Well, that's exactly right. So, I mean, now getting a little bit serious, we know in order for a species to survive, there has to be genetic variety. Otherwise, the offspring gets weaker and weaker progressively until the species is extinct. Even with humanity, anything smaller than a group of 3,000 cannot sustain itself. Right? So anytime our ancestors migrated from one land to another, if excuse me, if the groups were particularly small, they would die out. That's a given.
So if you have a zebra male and a zebra female, and they have offspring, and the offspring is either a male or a female, guess what has to happen next? Look, I am just saying because I am very simple. I'm really simple. I'm sorry, guys. But it's illegal now.
Even for zebras. Even for zebras, yeah?
Yeah. It's illegal now. There are so many other stories that I have to think about, but we've done enough of one particular religion. I want to ask a few questions in other religions, though, like as an example, you are about to go kill your cousins, as an example, for the people out here who are from the Eastern Bloc. and you're having an argument with a god as to whether or not you should kill your cousins. And the god is telling you, yeah, you absolutely should kill them, kill all of them. And then you're like, but isn't it a sin to kill people? I say, no, we good. So my point is, during this argument, is there a point in time where you think, maybe I'm worshiping the wrong God here? Is that what you think? Or you just go along with whatever? How do these things work? How do these things work? Were our ancestors a lot less critical than we were? What happened there?
Honestly, we're the same people. Going back 5,000 years, humanity hasn't evolved that much. Evolution is a very slow process.
Mm-hmm.
So they had the same critical faculties that we do. Although they may have not had our technology and toys, but they were just as creative and intelligent. So there's some sort of a problem here. So, well, what's the problem? Let's examine it. Were they idiots? Were they simpletons? No. So there's probably something wrong in the story. I've got my doubts the guy that was writing the story also drank the Kool-Aid. It's all down to that goddamn Kool-Aid, man. And in order to believe it, you got to drink some more of the Kool-Aid. So it's a Kool-Aid party. You see, that's what's happening.
I would like to lead the spiritual community out, but I can't help it. I gotta go there. I gotta go there. I want to ask you guys a few questions, because a lot of you don't critically think about your own belief system, and a lot of y'all don't practice, which is why we are here to be annoying to you guys. So I'm going to ask you guys a question. And it's a very cogent question. You woke up this morning and you did whatever spiritual practice that you did. Were you doing it just because you did it? That's what you do, it makes you feel better? Or were you doing it with consciousness? Amir, what is the difference? Please tell them what the difference is.
Well, one is habitual, a protocol you do when you're looking at your watch. Oh shit, I got to get somewhere. I got to meet this person. Once it's done, you're relieved. Okay, did the goddamn thing. Now let's move on to actual life.
Mm-hmm.
Doing it consciously is you, from the very moment that you start, you know why you're doing it and what it is going to do for you. And while you're doing it, you're aware of every step of the process, and you feel it working within you. You feel it working for you. You know what it is you're doing, and awareness is part of every single step. It doesn't matter if it takes 5 minutes or 25 minutes or 6 hours or 6 days. Okay? You know why you're doing it, and therefore that's all that's on your mind.
It's hilarious to me, and the reason why we're bringing this up is because I realize that the esoteric community is becoming like religion. No critical thinking is put into that, and so we're here to nitpick as an example. So my questions are very cogent questions for the very simple reason I'm asking you guys. Let's take the concept of energy, for instance. How many of you actually feel it? Really feel it? How many of you feel the concept of prana, chi, etc. flowing through you? How many of you do? I know you guys meditate. I know you all do all that stuff. How many of you are aware of the energy of chi, prana, life force around you? How many of y'all feel it when y'all are doing healing techniques? Or do you just put your hands on the individual and let it flow through?
Through my hands. Through my hands. You see, that's the thing. If you, well, it's interesting, David, that you mentioned prana or chi. So when the practice is done correctly, you feel it. There is no two ways about this. As you, let's, for example, talk about qigong. You start with these exercises slowly, then you reach a state as you're moving around in the air. You feel the energy as if you're moving your limbs in dense water or in jelly. You actually feel compression and pull of the energy between your hands. You feel it. The effect is very real. And then it's not just your imagination. You can project this energy onto matter around you and see the effects of it on the mind, on the energy of everything living, and on inanimate objects. We've got masters who direct their chi towards the clouds and melt the clouds in the sky, leaving a bald patch as clouds come through like an electric shaver. There's a little bald patch where the master has been playing with the clouds. Or when you do the practice of healing on somebody, they feel it. They go, what the hell, man? I'm feeling fire in this region or this region. They ask you, what is it you're doing?
Here's the thing that I want to call out here. This leap of faith thing, that shouldn't exist in the spiritual community because it makes us no different from religion, okay? If you're in the spiritual community, I never say spiritual arts. I never say occult arts. I say occult science or spiritual science because it either is or it isn't. It is as simple as that. It actually is or it isn't. I am a hypnotherapist and I teach hypnotherapy to students. It's a skill set which is not necessarily the easiest to access, intonation and so on. But once you access it, your induction of someone else becomes your own induction. You are literally sublimating with that individual. On the concept of energy or people doing rituals and practice, it's not enough to just do the ritual. You have to feel the ritual.
Absolutely.
And that removes the concept of doubt. I know people who are doing channeling, they're doing the Ouija board and so on, and it's just a game to them. Guys, you don't look. This is part of the reason why Amir and I decided to teach, because I was never going to teach anymore. Because there's a lot of people who they have websites, they have a whole bunch of things going for them, but then they have the imposter syndrome. And that's because whoever taught them Reiki as an example, if they're doing healing sciences in a weekend, and they know that they're supposed to do the meditation every day, but they don't do it. And because they don't do it, it leaves room for doubt in their minds, in their own abilities. And as a result of that, even when they give workshops and so on, it comes with a kind of dryness. It does.
A lot of dryness. And you see, that's why they introduced the Kool-Aid, man, because everybody's parched. Oh, it's too dry. I need some Kool-Aid.
All right. So if you guys know that you're supposed to be practicing, you're gonna have to practice. You're gonna have to practice. And we're here to remind you that you have to practice. So for those of you who have problems feeling energy, as an example, I suppose we should probably give out a couple of techniques for you to make you be in touch with whatever. So if you're watching this broadcast right now, technique number one, you're going to take your hands, put them behind, back to back like this. Reach up above your head, stretch up, stretch up, stretch up, stretch up as much as you can. Inhaling as you do, hold the breath, close your eyes, let go of your conscious control over all of the things that are running with you. Let your hands fall to the side and feel that energy expanding out through your hands. Feel it expanding out through your hands. You feel that once, now you know what you're supposed to feel. Now, if you know what you're supposed to feel, anytime you do healings and anything else that is esoteric and you're not feeling that thing, chances are you ain't doing it right.
Exactly correct.
We're not doing anything fake on the show. We are going to bring it like it is. Okay? Reach up, hands backing each other, let them fall to the side, and do not let them fall slowly to the side, and feel into that process. Simple
Absolutely.
technique for putting you in contact with chi, and it is the most effective technique for putting you in contact with chi. Once you know what it feels like, once you feel those tingles, the vibration that is happening, you know what you're supposed to feel like. And as a result, guess what? Now you know what you're supposed to be putting out.
So the technique that David just mentioned is part of an ancient Taoist Qigong method called uniting heaven and earth. It is really powerful. So again, with any sort of spiritual practice, a visualization will be extremely helpful. So as you're raising your hands up, imagine that you're scooping in the palms energy from the earth. You're drawing it up to the heaven. And then also when you're bringing down your arms, imagine, visualize that there's energy that you're pulling down from the heavens to earth. So this visualization actually helps the flow of energy. You see, once you get it right the first time round, there's no going back.
Yes.
You have felt. Once you have actually felt it in your body with your senses, then you know you're onto something. From that step forward, then it's just repetition and practice. So we come across a lot of people who, for example, have done up to Reiki level 2, okay, or even Reiki masterclass. And they have serious doubt because they don't feel it. They don't feel it, and therefore their heart is full of doubt. And when you're doubtful, you're never going to be an effective healer. So doing it correct from the very beginning is so important. So David mentioned those meditations that come, for example, with Reiki. Do the whole set of meditations for every step of the way before you're attuned. Before you're attuned even to level 1, you have to do 3 or 4 months of daily meditation. So it does take a certain amount of work. But once you do it and feel it, that is with you forever. You will never lose that. So if you're doing something and you're not feeling it, you're probably doing it wrong. Okay, we've got people that say, okay, I'm doing the advanced heart meditation twice a day, and I'm not feeling it. And you ask them, okay, how long have you been doing this? 6 months.
Yes.
Okay, buddy, you're probably doing it wrong. If you do it 3, 4 times, 10 times and nothing happens, you're doing it wrong. The same can be said about a ritual. You do it 5 times, 6 times, nothing happens. Evidently, you're doing it wrong.
You know, Amir, I was asked by someone today, David, why are you doing revocations and stuff in your call-in show? Like, because these people, some of them may not practice, but if you come into our call-in show, we're going to make you practice. We are. And there's something to be said for doing something correctly. And here's the problem. This is a plague in the esoteric community. We have a whole bunch of people walking around with imposter syndrome, with a whole bunch of compensation issues going on. Part of the reason is that they probably weren't trained correctly at the beginning, or they tried to train themselves through books and so on, and there was no community around them to give them tips and tricks like what we're doing in these shows. There was no community. I can tell you that I grew up in a community of people who watched me and told me, you're doing this wrong or you're doing that wrong. That was invaluable to me. Some of the stuff I taught myself, but the basics, the foundation, you absolutely have to get it correct first.
Agreed.
Energy manipulation, you absolutely need to get it correct definitively. Accessing the trance states, you absolutely have to get that correct, because in the trance states you are more amenable and you can actually control energy a lot better, right? And I'm not talking from the point of view of some airy-fairy person telling you about, oh, the cosmos, the energy and so on. I'm talking to you from somebody who utilizes it every day of my life. If you're going to be channeling, that channel has to be open, and you have to keep it open. Because a lot of people think that spirituality is like a sink, and you put the little plug in the sink and everything just stays there. No, 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 no. Spirituality is like you turn the tap on and the plug is out, and everything, new water is coming through every time. But you need to keep the tap on.
It is probably worth pointing out some of the indications that one is performing the spiritual task correctly. Now, I think from my humble experience, one of the most profound indicators that you're on the right track is tears. If you're doing it correctly, you have no choice, you come to tears. These are not tears of grief or sadness. They're tears of overwhelming joy.
Profundity is happening. You are experiencing aspects of yourself and the divine that you are not normally accessing. And
Exactly
that
right.
is a clearing, because in order for something new to come forward, the garbage has to be cleared out. It absolutely does, you know, guys. And one of the very important hallmarks, when I talk about foundation, there was something there before. You got to empty that glass. You absolutely do. You absolutely do. And when you empty the glass from all the garbage, ideas, the doubt, the self-doubt and all that stuff, then new information can come in, but you got to purge that stuff. And what does that look like? Getting the basics correct first. You access the trance states and you understand that there is more to this world. I keep saying this. I don't know how to make you guys feel this, however, because there is more to this world than the thing that you are locked in looking at all this stuff. I have a friend who is very much locked up. A lot of people switch off their intuition. They switch off their contact with the astral world because this thing that they know the walls, they know time. In this incarnation, they know a lot of stuff and they feel comfortable with that. And so they switch everything else off. And then all of a sudden it switches back on again and they realize, oh my God, what did I do to myself?
Yes. And the beauty of it is never too late. You see, you may be, let's look at the physical reality, you may spend some hours in sleep, but then you wake up again. And this is a greater level of awakening. So it doesn't matter if you've spent some years with your gifts dormant. As long as you live, there's always time. And there's no level, there's no upper level, there's no limit to what you can achieve. Again, please focus on this fact that it is about quality. And this quality is effortless. It just requires dedication. Dare I say, trust and surrender in yourself. So you can do it 30 seconds a day. It's not a maths exam where you have to study 10, 15 hours and you get a grade, A, B, and C. No, 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 there's none of that stuff. You do it correctly, you will grow with that effortless practice in no time at all. And then everybody is not the same. You cannot categorize everybody with the same marking scheme.
Yes.
That is a fallacy. Just be dedicated, be truthful, be honest. Throw your entirety into the practice of the ritual, to whatever spiritual practice you're doing. Okay, you have a busy day, just do one mantra. But when you're doing that one mantra, throw in your entire being, all the love in your heart, all your energy. Watch that one mantra in 10, 15 seconds grow you beyond your imagination. So it's not a matter of effort. It is a matter of quality.
You know, one of the other things that you might want to do, if you have a lot of doubt eating away at your mind as to your spiritual practice, thinking that nothing works, this doesn't work, I'm not sure, I just don't have that profound whatever else, is surround yourself with spiritual people. You may not be able to learn physics via osmosis, but spirituality is a lot different.
Exactly.
Because natural selection works a lot faster in spiritual communities than it does in, like, I don't know, social settings in a bar, as an example. It works a lot faster because if you think that you are dense or whatever, you can't channel energy, you can't manipulate energy and so on, sit down quietly with a spiritual person and hold their hands for a bit and let them break through your density.
Yes. In
Let
5
them break
seconds.
through your density. Yes.
Without effort.
Without effort, which brings us to actually a very good point you just made. The reason why we're doing this, guys, this is not another tips and tricks show. It should be another tips and tricks show since we're giving out tips and tricks. This is not another tips or tricks show. We have a bunch of people in the spiritual community. A lot of them have been conned by people.
Yes.
Claiming to teach them stuff. And a lot of them have spent a lot of money. And I get this in my email all the time. I went to a teacher, I spent 10 grand, I spent 5 grand or whatever else, and nothing. Nothing has changed, nothing. And I'm like, if you went to a spiritual teacher.
Or even worse, David, they come out with more doubts, feeling even worse. You see.
There is that. And then they jump out of the spiritual community when they could have been exceptional as people. Okay. And so what we're doing with those tips and trick shows is filling in what was missing out of your $10,000 spend. And we're going to do it for free. Yes, we're teaching courses. Yes, we're going to be teaching courses very soon. But with regard to the spirituality, we have a free spiritual course. If you guys are interested, put your email in the, well, not in the comments. You could just DM me or Amir and so on. And we will add you to the spiritual course that's free. We're doing it as a public service because the truth of the matter is, if the esoteric community keeps going the way it's going with a bunch of con artists, disillusioning people, instead of trying to pull the community together and asking them to take that leap of faith, you know, like the guys Rise Lazarus.
Here's some Kool-Aid.
Right?
Go, open up wide.
Right? If it continues the way, then you'll find that the spiritual community is not the same as it was, I said, 20 years ago. There's too much division, competition, and all that nonsense going on. People are just in it for themselves. And as a result of that, what we are doing is something different. So if you don't have the money to do another course because you've already spent all up in $25,000 going to somebody else to do stuff for you, hoping that you will get there, we have a free course of spirituality. You could start with that. We could start with that. You can watch our shows because we're going to give some of these tips and tricks out. The energy manipulation, contact exercise that I gave earlier on in this broadcast, you should absolutely do it. It will give you the contact that you need so you know what it actually feels like. And if you know what it feels like, you could take that energy and you could put it to anything else that you've been taught, whether it be by a con artist or out of a book or whatever else. What we don't want you to do is just give up.
Correct.
That
if
is
I may
nonsense.
To our esteemed audience, ladies and gentlemen, please do not lose hope. If you've been trying something for a certain period of time and it's not working, I would like to reassure you, nothing is lost or wasted in the cosmos. You've been gathering firewood for a long time. The spark has been missing. Don't give up. You're close. When that tiny spark gets the flame going, guess what? All that hard work that you've done is going to ignite in a very powerful way. Please believe me when I say this. Your effort is not in vain. So whenever you do the correct thing, start feeling what you're doing for the very first time. That's the end. You've already become a master. It's just a matter of time then. Just keep searching for the truth. Okay, we're offering a free spirituality course. The content is actually pretty amazing. Very practical things that will enhance your life, whether you want to do a magical ritual or not. whether you want to go down the route of transcendental meditation or not. So this is going to improve the quality of your life, and perhaps you find that spark that has been missing.
So a lot of people have asked me, David, why are you doing this? You'll notice that Amir and I are passionate about this subject. I'll tell you why we're passionate about this subject, because the difference that just being aware made in my life personally, and Amir as well, the difference that it made in our lives is immeasurable. I could not imagine growing up without spirituality being part of my life. I just thinking about that is horrifying to me. Thinking about it is extremely horrifying. I need you to understand that where I came from and where I got to as a result of spirituality, the side effects of spirituality, of engaging in meditation and so on, is so profound. Absolutely. That when I see people who are dense and so on, I'm like, it's really bad. It's really bad for me, because I could just look at an individual and I could see how their lives can change, their health can change, their physical and mental and spiritual abilities can change if it is that they just make a little bit of effort. And so, yeah, we're offering a free spirituality course. DM us, let us know that you want to actually check it out. The reason why it's free is because we want to make sure that you have nothing to lose. You have nothing to lose looking at this show. It's free. It's being streamed everywhere. You have nothing to lose trying to do a free spirituality course. You all have nothing to lose. And so, right. And there's the second reason why we know what disillusionment is. You meet a practitioner who's a false practitioner. They con you with a bunch of crap, okay, telling you a bunch of crap. And then you realize, don't blame the whole spiritual community for the actions of whatever false practitioner you came across. Please don't do that. Not all of us are full of it.
Correct. Okay. Some of us care. Some of us genuinely care. And we take it upon ourselves to the greatest of our ability to try to undo the damage. Okay, so for example, talking about meditation, which is the key to all spirituality, all gifts to be unlocked, all dimensions of existence to be observed. It all starts with meditation. But what is this damn meditation? Okay, so that's part of the free course. How the brain works, what's consciousness, how to transform one zone to the other, go deeper, go higher. What is the correct practice? Then give it a go.
Correct.
What do you know? Correct. Maybe it actually works for you. And if it doesn't, what have you lost?
Nothing. You've lost the exact amount of time you would have spent in a day on what? Social media? I think you can spare the time. I think you can. So we ask you to watch these shows and to try to do something different. The reason why this is being done is because, look, I hate this concept where even people who are teaching people spirituality are asking them to take a leap of faith like religion. Listen, either you can or you cannot. Either you are or you are not. There's no kind of in this spectrum. Either you can or you cannot. Yes. In this past few weeks, when we started the calling show, I have met some amazing people who definitely can. Robin Neely.
Yes.
Mother.
Shout out.
She definitely can.
Yes.
Definitely. Okay. And Kylie Palmowski. Goddamn.
Oh my
this
goodness.
woman wrote this woman wrote a revocation which reduced all of us to tears. Reduced all of us. We posted it on Monday.
Yeah. That's the sign of it being genuine. A whole chat room full of people. Everybody was crying. Young and old, man and woman. Okay, that's the sign of truthfulness that you're looking for. And guess what? When you read it in your own words, when you see tears coming down, streaming down your face, tears of liberation, that's when you know you're onto something real.
Yeah. And that is why we're collaborating with Kylie. Either you can or you can't. Either you are or you are not.
Exactly. There's no leap of faith. So that's the key. You may extend faith in yourself. I have faith in myself that I will never surrender. That's valid. That's acceptable. But please, please, ladies and gentlemen, I humbly ask you, do not place faith in anything external.
Correct.
You may try something, evaluate it. If it works, then you have faith in it, that it works for you, okay? But don't place faith in me. Don't place faith in David. Don't place faith in anything, for goodness sake. Don't trust. First verify. Don't trust. Verify. Okay, if you verify it works 10 times out of 10, then you're probably onto something. There is no miracle. I mean, we started this broadcast taking the mickey out of all these miracles and how probably there's something seriously wrong going on, okay? And we're living in the same day and age as those days. Somebody comes and says, I can do this and that breaks the laws of physics. They're probably full of it, okay? But somebody tells you a certain system of meditation over time results in this and this. Again, don't trust them. But you can try, follow the protocol, see if the certain system of meditation works for you. Once it's worked for you, then for you that is valid and you can extend more faith into it by continuing the practice. So
exactly.
Yes,
exactly.
No Kool-Aid, for goodness sake. You don't know where that Kool-Aid has been.
And I say it, you know, like when I gave that example earlier on, right? And I said, I populated the table of Kool-Aid and people say, I'll drink it. Like, don't trust me with the Kool-Aid. Hello. Like if I manifested, don't drink my Kool-Aid either. Like seriously, look, let me tell you the kind of world that I envisage. I envisage a world where everybody is their own reader, psychic, where everybody, every one of them is their own healer. Would you like to know why I want more healers out there? I want more healers out there because I might need it one day. Okay.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yes.
And if everybody's healing everybody else as opposed to one person healing somebody or this person healing somebody and so on, that is a bunch of nonsense. There's the healers at the top and the readers here and the psychics here. Why don't we all become that thing? Why don't we all become that thing? And we're going to push for that.
Yes, independent masters who can use all our faculties, all our gifts, including healing for ourselves, to not be in need of anybody else. Let's be a species of independent, powerful individuals, right? And then one of us comes onto hard times or something happens, then we can help that other noble being. But it's not that we're going knocking on everybody's door, heal me, feed me, feed me, right? Empower me, empower me. It's all within you.
Correct. And you know, here's the thing. And in a community situation and so on, let me give you a running example. Nikki, myself, and Amir. When I want a second opinion based on my intuition, I ask him and I ask her. Okay? For verification purposes. You want to know what that's like? That is like having a resource. I didn't have to pay Amir to do that. When we are doing revocations and spells and stuff like that, we're doing it together. We are separate, but together at the same time. Imagine that. Imagine that.
It's incredible. It is so rewarding. Because when you're isolated, you don't have any other verification.
No, you
but
don't.
other people say exactly the same thing. So it's exactly the same thing, but from different points of view. It complements each other very powerfully. And so that is an incredible privilege.
When everyone does their own work and raises themselves to a level where they can actually intuit, where they can actually read, where they can actually reach out, where they can actually be part of a unified whole. One of the reasons why we did the call-in show is because we got to see who's out there and who is really, really doing what it is that they say that they can do. We got to see that. This lady, Roxandra Panna, who drew the picture of Amir, for those of you who don't know, you should check her out. Roxandra, she draws astral images and past-life images.
It's amazing. It's amazing. It resonates to your soul so powerfully that, oh my God, I lived in this body. You recognize it.
You need to check her out. Whether you doubt or don't doubt, leap of faith or whatever else, we can point you to these people because we verified that these people are exactly who they say they are. We did, and we can shout them out for real. They've done the work that they needed to do. Some of them have natural talent, okay? And so when it comes to practitioners, as an example, or people who are into spirituality, whatever certificate you have means nothing to me. It doesn't mean a thing. People like to show off their Reiki 1 and Reiki 2 and master certificates and so on. And I'm like, that doesn't mean anything. I care about what you can do, though.
Show me what you've got.
Right? I care about what you can do. And once I see what you are capable of, then we don't have to talk anymore. You are soul family. Period. Point. So, guys, here's the takeaway on my part of this discussion. We started off talking about people who are taking leap of faith and the whole miracle things, like really and truly, dead body comes forward. Oh, when Hollywood does it, it's a horror movie. But when this guy does it, it's like, oh, a miracle. You see the problem? Anyway, never mind. Let's move on. But we ended up talking about taking leaps of faith and developing yourselves and so on. We told you guys that you have options. You could give up, or you could try something different. Just try the stuff that we give out in the tips and tricks show. You can do that. Not a problem. You could do that. If it doesn't work, contact us. Say, well, I'm not feeling what I'm supposed to be feeling, and you probably didn't take the instructions correctly, and then I'll give you the instructions. But here's the point, guys, you have nothing to lose. Because anything that you have to lose, you probably lost it already when you turned your senses off. You have everything to gain, though. A whole universe. And that's my spiel. Amir, final words on the topic.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's just boil everything down about the session we talked through today. Please don't extend faith. Only have faith in yourself. Don't trust. Please verify first. And have an open mind, but be very careful continuously. And give everything its fair examination and verification process. And if you find that something works for you, then continue on. Continue working with it. If you start down a method and there's somebody proposing something, interrogate them thoroughly. Question them immensely.
Yes.
Make sure that they can back up what they're claiming. Now, if the person is actually truthful, They may not be able to explain, but they may be able to show you a way that you can do something yourself. Certain things may not be compatible with our linguistics, but they say, okay, I don't know how it happens, but I can show you how to do it. That is also acceptable. Have faith in yourself. You are powerful. You are infinite creator beings. And so one way or another, when there's a will, there's a way. If you wish to awaken, it will be so.
Thank you so much. Guys, I have a little bit of an announcement for you guys. We're planning movie nights for the spiritual community. So for those of you who are on our mailing list, we're going to probably send out a link in September. We're going to start that. We're going to dissect spiritual movies together. We're going to set a time and we're going to watch it together, and we're going to dissect, and we're going to learn from the stuff that's there and discuss our experiences and so on. This is all in aid of pulling this community together. Once again, for those of you who are out there and those of you who are too shy to become part of a community or whatever else, as those of you who are jaded as well, y'all are uninvited. It's a hangout, so you have nothing to lose. Okay, guys?
Get the popcorn, avoid the goddamn Kool-Aid, okay?
Get the popcorn, stop the Kool-Aid. Right. Anyway, guys, that's our show for today. We'll see you guys a little later. Take care.